Yeah, not.
Hey, I'm Shell.
And I'm Judy. We are the two Loco ladies, in case you couldn't tell that already.
Yes, we're very loco today.
It's the start of a hot, dry summer here in Texas. Well, we're still in the rainy part, but I think it's going to be miserable this summer. So,
I'm not looking forward to it at all. But I am glad to be rid of the cold, nasty weather. Like
yep.
I want that little sweet spot, where it's not really spring and it's not really fall, but it's like that sweet spot of fall, fall. Did I just make a new season?
And that's where we get our name from. Texas
So
has what they say, what, two seasons, summer and other. So, yeah, take up all the seasons you want.
oh man, so what have you been doing this week?
What have I been doing? I have been, and that's another thing, the freeze dryer. I've been
hmm
working that thing overload, but I already have to turn on my air conditioner above my freeze dryer because it has been so hot and so humid already.
What do you mean already? Yours hasn't been on already? Mine's been on for like a month.
No, for the freeze dryer.
Oh, just for the freeze
You
dryer?
start getting that
Oh.
message that processing time is going to take longer because it's
hmm
too
hmm
hot. I hate
Yeah,
that.
I have a fan. I have a ceiling fan over mine, and then I have a fan on a stand
Mhm.
pointed right at it. And yeah, so the first time I got that, I was like, "Oh no, no, we don't want you to take longer. Let me go
No.
get another fan."
Mine is directly under the air conditioner. It blows right on top of it. And then I have a fan pulling the hot air away from the freeze dryer and then a fan pointed at it. And it's just like, what is it going to be like in July trying to,
Right?
this is
Well,
ridiculous.
yeah, and so that's kind of what I'm doing with my fan that's on the stand. It's kind of like sucking the cool air because it's in front of a vent. So
Mm-hmm.
as the air comes through the vent, then that fan catches it and sucks it and blows it over toward the freeze dryer. And then I'm hoping the ceiling fan above it is like wisping the hot air away. I hope. I don't know.
I hope this, but
But the other thing is, I know it gets humid where you live a little, but it is like a humid nightmare where I live.
yeah.
It's like 1,000% humidity all the time. But anyway, so I got a dehumidifier
Mm-hmm.
and I got a monster one. I was like, look, we're not even messing around here. I said,
Yeah.
try to get one bigger than the actual size you need, for the square footage of your house. And so I was like, 4,000 square foot. Mm-hmm. Oh, shoot. Oh, well, I just realized I gotta go dump mine. It quit. But I got the biggest
Oh,
one that I could
I'm
find
like,
that
it quit.
I know, right? I got the biggest one I could find that I could afford that was like, yeah, I think this will work, but it will hold like 4 gallons of water before you have to dump it, and it's on wheels. And it sends a little message to my app, and I forgot that it went off before this recording, and I was supposed to go dump it, so it's not working right now. But it is amazing. So yeah, it was like it was taking me like 2 to 3 days to have to empty that. And now that it's gotten warm on top of being humid,
Yeah.
I'm having to dump it daily now. And I'm like, oh, thank God I got the big one.
Now we don't have traditional air conditioners in our house. We have the mini splits. So they're in each room and it also dehumidifies. So I have one right above the freeze dryer, but then I also have one in my kitchen. So when I'm packing up the food that I've taken out of the freeze dryer, I make sure that I have that running so we don't have to deal with, because that the whole point of freeze drying is removing that moisture. And if you're
Right.
battling the humidity, that's no
I
fun.
agree. So I think that the people that live in the dry areas like the desert, oh, they have it
Arizona.
made. Yes. Or where my dad lived, it's like almost desert.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, those were things that like if you're not starting yet and you want to, like, you might want to start preparing while you're waiting for your freeze dryer or whatever. Like, go ahead and start shopping for a dehumidifier if you don't have one too, and learning how to use that. And
I've heard a lot of people And maybe if I still lived up at home in New York, they put their freeze dryer in the garage. So you have to think about where you're going to put it, because I can't imagine being here unless you have an air conditioned garage.
Yeah,
Putting
I don't
it,
understand how that works either, unless they live in an area that's not humid.
yeah.
Because down here, I would not put it in my garage either unless it was air conditioned. And then, I mean, well, someone opens the garage door and poof,
There
they're
it
all,
goes.
yeah. So yeah, I have mine in my dining room next to the kitchen. And since my kids are adults and don't live here anymore, we don't eat in there. So it's just like my freeze drying room.
We have what used, when we moved into this house, it was all carpeted and they used it as their family room. They had like their couch and their TV in there. I ripped the carpet up one day because, anyway. Um, and now we have all our workout equipment in there. But the thing
Huh?
about it is I've told you about the electricity in my house. It's all old and being replaced. I got the larger freeze dryer. So you can't plug it in to a traditional 110 plug. You have to have the special plug. So if you're looking at a large freeze dryer, make sure that you look at what you need to plug it in, because it has to be a specialty plug. It's a Numi plug or something. I can't remember what it was called, but it's right next to the fuse box. So when my electrician came in to put the plug in, he could just really pull the line really easy to make it so it didn't cost me as much for the electrician to put the new plug in.
I was lucky. Yeah, if you hadn't told me that, I was definitely going to pull the trigger for the bigger one, because I was in my mind, I was like, well, if I'm going to do all this work, I want to get the most done at and everything. And then I was talking to you about it because you already had yours and you told me about the plug, and I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want to do all that. So I got the medium,
Right.
and I'm not complaining, but I don't have anything to compare it to.
I love the large. Now, I think ours are similar, except yours is 4 trays and mine is the 5 trays. Then I want to say the new large has 6 trays. And I'm
Well,
thinking to myself, this morning I was kind of pushing the limit of what I had to go on 5 trays that I'm willing to combine. I don't add my strawberries to my, like if I'm doing leftovers and stuff, I don't put like my fresh fruit and stuff in there.
yeah.
It's a mind thing. I don't know if I could do 6 trays.
Well, I did get one of the newer ones that has 5 trays, and
Okay.
I kind of wish that I had gotten the 4 tray one, or if it had been an option. I don't even know if it does now. It was for me, but um, the from what I've seen and understand now that I know that there's two versions of the medium, this spacing is smaller between the trays of the medium. And so I was like, well, what difference does that make? I don't care, until I had a little spill that I had to clean up, and then I couldn't get my hand in there to
Get your
clean
hand
it.
in there to clean it.
I'm like, how am I supposed to get this clean? It's kind of a nightmare. So
I've pre-frozen, I think it was spaghetti sauce to put in there, and it must have gotten wanky in the freezer, so it wasn't flat, so it kind of had a bubble in it, and I couldn't get it into the freeze dryer because when it bubbled, it was too tall to go between.
I had that happen. I had that happen the load before last. Um, I saw this idea for doing milk,
Mhm.
and so it would be less messy, and you could pre-freeze it and all this stuff, because I was like, well, I don't want to put the milk in there and spill it like you're talking about.
That would be me.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to do that. So then you're telling me like freeze the milk. So I was freezing it in little 1 inch cubes, which was taking me forever. And then I saw this video about using quart size bags and pouring it
Mhm.
in there, and then freezing the bag and then putting it and sliding it in. So I was like, well, I know I gotta leave enough space in here for whenever it freezes, because it's gonna expand, right?
Right. I didn't know milk did that, but okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You never try to freeze a jug of milk. You
I
gotta
haven't
pour
done
some
milk
out.
yet. No.
Well, anyway,
Putting
like
that down in my memory. Milk expands.
yeah, so I put it in the baggie, and I was like, well, let me just make sure that, because I know that they say to keep it. Well, look, I have a tray. I brought show and tell. Excuse me.
Good. We like show and tell.
I brought show and tell stuff. Look, so I brought so they say didn't mean to scare you.
See, your trays look just like mine. Look, they look the same size as mine do.
I wonder. I think mine are a little smaller than yours, I think, from what people say. I think the large ones are a little bit longer.
Oh, maybe
But
longer. Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
but they say like don't overfill your this is weird. Don't go over the side of the tray.
Right.
Like keep your food like under it or
Yep.
at the very least right at it. And so I was like, well, let me put my milk bags that I'm gonna freeze because I hadn't frozen them yet. Let me put my milk bags under there so I can make sure that they're gonna slide under there and be good before
Okay.
I freeze them. And so like everything was going awesome. I was like, oh, sliding it in. And I was like, oh, that went in like hot butter. and then I go to pull it back out. And I guess when I did, like the milk was going forward and then I pulled it back the other way and it shifted and it all went to one side. And the bag was like, and it got stuck.
Oh no.
It got stuck. And I was like, oh no. So I'm like, and nothing is happening. It's not budging. I was like, I'm doing everything right. I'm like, please come out. I'm begging. I'm crying. I'm talking sweet to it. He did nothing. And then finally I was like, oh no, I punctured a little hole and it started squirting out.
She don't have to worry about milking her goat. She's milking.
I was milking my milk bag.
Adventures in freeze drying.
Oh, please, I can't. Oh, that was good, Judi. Oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't try milking goats.
Wait, just promise me when you do milk a goat for the first time that you take your phone out and record it so we can add it.
Right? I kind of wish I had recorded this now. So anyway, who knew I would cry on this episode?
And if you think
anyway,
I'm editing this out, I'm not. Nope.
long story short, I had to disassemble the whole inside of that thing so I could get it clean.
You had to take the whole bit, the shelving system out.
Yeah.
Oh. I hate doing that because mine's on an IKEA table on wheels. It's really sturdy.
Yeah.
But it's up too high and I'm too short. So it's a 2-person job to get the shelving unit out of the freeze dryer. Because like I'll take it out and he holds it and I'll reach back in and unhook it. So
yeah, so you know how I got around that. So I only need myself and I have a chair in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just like this much lower than the freeze dryer. And so I open it out and I pull it out and I set it and rest it on the chair so I can unhook it. Because I'm like, I learned a long time ago, if I have to do something and depend on my husband to show up and help me, it's not happening, probably.
I just have to wait, you know.
Right?
My experience that's similar to yours is I got the brilliant idea because I do candy in mine as well. And I was doing Rolos. You remember Rolos, the chocolate with the caramel?
Yum, yum.
Chocolate doesn't do anything besides melt, but the caramel expands.
Oh.
And the first time I did it, I did not cut the Rolos in half. I couldn't get like get the tray out and you could just hear as you're pulling it out and you look in there and half the Rolo caramel is on the top of it and you're just like, just no.
Okay, so no to Rolos. Don't
No, they're fine. You cut them in half first. You cannot do a full Rolo because I had like 2 trays of them. It was a nightmare, but
oh my god.
Have you done anything besides milk that made you think I'll never do this ever again?
I've gone back to freezing the milk in the 1-inch cubes. Mm-hmm. because it was less, it's less time consuming than cleaning the milk out. But what was the other thing? I had done something when I first got it and I had to clean it because I was asking you like, how do I get my hand in there and clean it? And you're like, what?
I remember you asking that.
Yeah, what was I? What did I do? Shoot. I don't know, but it was not as traumatizing as the milk.
That caramel was it for me. I'm just like, that was a mess. Because I'd already freeze dried it, so it was all dried.
Right.
Hot water, took care of it, but it was just like, I'm like trying to get in through the sides. So the question of the day is, what do you have in your freeze dryer right now?
Right now I have mashed potatoes again and carrots.
Let's see your mashed potatoes and carrots, because you already did some.
Oh yeah, I already did some. So, and I brought them to show. So this is what Yukon Gold mashed potatoes. It's powdered.
And you treat those just like you do when you buy like the instant mashed potatoes in the store, right?
When you reconstitute them.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. So I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. But yeah, so all I did was I took I boiled, so I peel mine because it seems like I have some picky people in my family that won't eat a peel, even if I washed it and like, disinfected it with alcohol and everything else, they still wouldn't eat it. So I peel all mine and then I chop them up into chunks and then I boil them just like you're gonna make mashed potatoes. And then I took my
Did you add milk and butter?
No.
Nope, just potatoes. Okay.
Just did the potatoes straight. And then I took my mashed potato smasher and I mashed them all up. And then I spooned them on the tray. I'll try. And then after it freeze dries, it comes out and it's just like, it looks like a thin yellow cake.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can break it up in pieces. And then I take my jar. Oh, every time I lean over, I get my hair in my face. I take my jar and I use a wide mouth jar.
I love the wide mouth jars for the freezer.
Yes, it makes it so much easier. And then you get one of these thingies that you use for like if you're going to actually really can. Well, it makes it easier getting stuff in there. And then I take my mashed potatoes. Can I set this here? Yeah. So then I take my mashed potatoes that is freeze dried and I would show you, but I don't want my food getting humid. So sorry, you have to watch someone else's video for that. So then I just break it into pieces up here and let it fall in. And then when it gets up so high, then I take, I don't know what this is called, but I have seen them since I bought this one from Pampered Chef. I have seen them at the dollar store and other places at Walmart. And so I think it's for like a meat.
Hamburger.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but look, it fits down. Well, it doesn't with this thing. Once you get the potatoes in there, you take that out and then it fits in this wide mouth jar. Perfect.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
When I first got my freeze dryer,
I set this on a pot holder so it's cushioned between the counter. And then it's like you just ever so gently go like this. You don't have to do it really hard and bust your jar because it just turns into powder so easily.
When I first got my freeze dryer, my blender quit.
Oh.
So I wanted to do raspberries for raspberry lemonade, but yeah, it was like in the sheet and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I was just put in the Mylar bags and then just, break it. Right. But I love that idea. Now, when you put them in there, do you use one of these things? I brought mine up.
Yeah. I think mine's a different brand, but it looks the same. Yeah.
Yeah. I love this thing.
Yeah. And does yours do the regular size mouth and the wide mouth?
Yep.
Mine too. Yeah.
And it's USB rechargeable.
Yes, it's awesome. And it's on Amazon and it's not very expensive at all. It was like less than $20.
I was gonna say, I think mine was $15.99.
Yeah. I don't remember how much mine was exactly, but I know it was less than 20.
I love it.
It is the bomb.
Money.
Yeah, so got to get you one of those and have it ready for when your freeze dryer comes.
So I did strawberries.
Ooh, those are pretty.
Now this does not have an oxygen absorber in it. We go through strawberries so quick. Did you put an oxygen absorber in your potatoes?
I did. You can, I was trying to move it where it
Yeah,
would
I can see
maybe,
it. It's just
you
the
see
like the
it? It's like,
white.
it's right up on the top. Yeah. Oh,
See, I did it with these because this is bunny treats. My bunny and my husband likes it in
hmm
ice cream. But these things make it so I don't put an oxygen absorber in it. Um, and every time we open it now, I just pop this on and reseal it.
Yeah, so I would do the same thing. Like, I have some avocado that I'll open, and I know it's not gonna last long, so I don't waste my oxygen absorber because I know I'm probably gonna eat it up.
Yep.
But like, since I have so many, and this is my carrots,
I
since I
love
have
those colors. That is just,
so, and you see my oxygen absorber in this one
yep.
easier since it's a more contrasting color. But since I'm not gonna eat this many carrots and potatoes, since I have a gazillion of them, so I put an oxygen absorber in them. But
Yep.
I just cut these up into, into little rounds.
Did
Just
you cook them?
I did cook these first because I couldn't decide because I read in the all the places you got to read about fruit freeze drying, and some people says you got to blanch them, and some people said no, you just do them raw. And I was like, well, everybody's saying a different thing. So my first pass through, I boiled them all,
Okay.
and then I saved the juice that I cooked them in because man, that is some tasty sweet stuff. And let me tell you my top secret: do your get get potatoes and carrots and do them at the same time, because boil your carrots and then cook your potatoes in the carrot juice. Oh, they are so yummy. And so no, I didn't put any salt or pepper or butter or anything because I was like, well, if these are truly like instant mashed potatoes, if these are just going to reconstitute with water, then if I haven't already put milk in it or seasoning or anything, people can make them, however they like them. And or like I don't have to worry about butter issues, like
Yeah.
maybe it was too fat or something. I didn't want to have any of that
No, I
issue.
bought freeze dried butter. I have like four of the big containers, downstairs in my
Yeah, but
something.
I wonder, I wonder if they do that process, the ones that do it commercially, if they do that process a little differently, like they do the milk. Because I read somewhere that it's not actual like freeze drying like we're doing, like
Yeah.
they're doing some kind of a chemical blast on them.
Yep.
So I wonder if that's what they're doing with the butter too.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I didn't want to risk it. So I was like, let me try cooking these taters in this here carrot juice because this
I
carrot juice is nice and sweet. And I was like, I like the flavor of this. I'm not going to put anything
yeah.
in.
I never thought of that. I'm not a huge carrot fan. My oldest child kind of cured me of that. Um, but carrots are sweet, almost like, you
Mm.
know, candy. You can make carrot candy. So that's a good idea for I love that. When I'm making mashed potatoes, don't tell my children or my husband this. When I'm cooking the mashed potatoes, I throw like a whole handful of garlic cloves in there.
Oh,
And it
yeah,
just
that would be
gets
good.
mashed up with the potatoes. So you could just think of all the possibilities of the different kind of mashed potatoes you could make and save.
Yeah, when I don't have carrots that I'm cooking at the same time, I'm going to try different, flavoring variations too. And I'm still thinking of leaving the butter out just to be safe because I'm not
Yeah.
sure on that.
You can always,
Um,
you should always be able, and I say that now, what happens if we run out of butter? I mean, there was supposed to be a butter shortage at Christmas, so who knows? I don't know.
I know it's like sometimes it's like, are y'all just taking advantage of like shortage stuff because it worked out in your favor? So now you're just making up shortages. Like you never know anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, we've been so traumatized the last 4 years. You have to believe them because it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, so like
But
one
I
more
do
thing.
know that my freeze dryer will probably be going nonstop until I can't keep it cold enough in there for it to run.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping I can keep my room cool enough too, because I'm getting the hang of this now. So I just wanted to show you my one last show and tell.
Okay.
So this is my this did not come with the freeze dryer.
I wish I had gotten those when I got my freeze dryer.
Yeah, so this was an additional purchase. So the trays come with your freeze dryer, but these are lids and you can get them from, and by the way, like there is more than one company that sells freeze dryers, but we both own the Harvest right. So we're talking about Harvest right here. Probably
Right.
should say that. So these lids come with are an extra purchase you can get. And of course, I can't do this one handed, but they sit on here and they seal. So you could put your stuff in the freezer and have it sealed for later so it doesn't get the yucky freezer taste if you're going to have it in there for a while. And also you can turn it over and you can actually use it as another tray
Right.
and
I
freeze dry your
love
stuff in
that.
here. Yeah, and I have whenever I do fresh banana and I chop it into the little rounds, I like doing the banana on these because they don't stick. And I found that whenever I use it on the metal straight, the bananas stick. And oh well, there's another purchase. I didn't bring that. There's the little silicone mats or
Yeah,
silicone
that's
mats.
what I was about to say. I put the bananas and my strawberries all in the silicone mat.
Yeah, if you put it on the silicone mat, it won't stick. But I forgot, so I usually just do the bananas on here
Yeah.
because then I don't forget. And I like the fact that it has these little dividers here because if you only have enough to do a certain, like you don't have a whole lot
Oh
of
yeah.
something, you can divide it up and keep it from touching if touching bothers you.
I d- I have right now I have one tray of leftovers and I had made stuffed peppers last night and then I had some leftover shredded chicken. And that'd be perfect because when we have leftovers, we don't have enough for the whole tray. So I have like three different things on the tray. That would be perfect.
Yeah, and
I need to get some lids.
yeah, and I found if you pre-freeze stuff like because you have to wash your trays, and then you have to wait the downtime for that. And that's one reason why I got these because I was like, well, maybe I can get another second load going while I'm washing these trays. And I already know I want to get some more of these trays and I want to get some more lids because I'm like, man, I'm just not keeping up fast enough. I have more taters and carrots and I know what to
That
do with.
being said, if anybody's watching this right now, I I had my harvest right a year, a little over a year, maybe. I don't know. I got mine on the Mother's Day sale they had last year, and they're having the Mother's Day sale right now. Not
Ooh,
only on the
good.
freeze dryers, but on the accessories. Yes, I have stuff in my cart.
I do too. Every time they have a sale, I get myself a little something else.
Yeah.
I think I got mine on the Black Friday sale.
Right. So, I will make sure that I put a link in the YouTube description for
Yeah.
Harvest Dry because I I don't know about you. My husband and I went back and forth. I really wanted it. He really wanted it. It was very expensive. Like I said, we got the large, and I want to say we paid almost $4,000 for it by the time I gotten everything that I wanted. And that's a huge investment. Now, I know that right now Tractor Supply is selling those, and I can get like the oil and the Mylar bags and the oxygen absorbers, but the trays and all that. I've got the trays, I've got the tray liners, and those are all on sale now for the Mother's Day sale, which to me has been the best sale that I have seen. And we watched it for more than a year to get the best price.
Yeah, I agree. Like if you can get it when it's on sale, do it.
Yeah.
Um, Even if I paid full price for it, I still think it would have been worth it though.
Oh yeah.
Um, Even though it's quite a learning curve, um, with the scary things that are happening in the world right now, and we
But
don't know what
look,
else is
look at my
coming at us.
look at my strawberries. I am not even thinking food preservation for, like our grandmothers did for canning for the winter. This is what my bunnies prefer to eat. An 8-ounce jar of or bag of strawberries is like $15 here, of freeze dried strawberries.
Wow.
I just did 5 trays, so I have 4 of these. What is half gallon? How big is this? Yeah, this is 8 cups. And I've got 4 of these on my shelf from one load. I paid $20 for the strawberries.
Yeah,
So this is like what, $5 for this jar?
exactly. So if you're able to run your freeze dryer when you get your hands on a good deal, or
Yeah.
like while things are in season right now, because there's a for all this produce, there's a peak season. And then sometimes you see it in the store. They're just like, gosh, we have so much of it coming in. They're practically giving it away because
Yeah.
it's rotten faster than people are buying it.
Yep.
And that's when you need to go in there and snag all that stuff up and start getting it all prepared and pre-froze and ready for your next batch. Oh, that's what I was saying. So yeah. So if you get the lids, if you get the quart size freezer bags, not for the milk.
They fit
But
right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll fit in here perfectly. And then you can go ahead and pre-freeze those strawberries that you got that are going to go bad quickly, so go ahead and pre-freeze your strawberries and measure, and before you freeze them and get them to where they're underneath the height of the
Yeah.
tray.
Hit the right height.
And you don't have to worry about the strawberries expanding, as far as I know.
No, no. And when I came home from Florida, because I got strawberries dirt cheap at Florida, and I got tomatoes really cheap. And that's what I did. I just, I got home Sunday morning. So Sunday afternoon, I just cut up the strawberries and started putting them in the quart bags and throwing them in the freezer because I knew I wasn't going to freeze dry them then, but I knew that I would. So
Right. Oh, and by the way, like if you use the quart size freezer bag method, like you do have to take them out of the freezer bag before you freeze dry them. Just cut it away. But what we're saying is it helps you to go ahead and get them prepared for your next
portion.
batch and save those strawberries or whatever the produce is so it doesn't go bad, and have it already frozen and ready to plunk on your tray as soon as you're ready to get the freeze dryer running again.
And remember that Walgreens, now this, when it comes to cutting Ziploc bags are
It's
so
painful. They're
stupid
expensive.
expensive. But Walgreens, I don't know how many times a year they have the sale, but you buy one box of freezer bags or sandwich bags or whatever kind of bags you need, you get 2 boxes for free. So that's 3 boxes for the price of one. And that sale is going on this week. So
Yeah.
they didn't have quart size. They only have gallons, but that's how I do my strawberries. I just put them in the gallon bags.
So I didn't even know about that until you told me about it, because I haven't been in Walgreens in a while. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me, right? I went in there. Nope, you were right. It was at my Walgreens had it too. And they had the gallon size and the quart size. So I got both. And I got 12 boxes, and the total was like $12 and some change with tax.
So I don't feel so bad cutting them up for that price.
I know. That's why when you told me, I was like, man, I cry when I have to cut those things up. So I went in there and I've got me some, because they're ridiculously high, especially if you pay for the Ziploc brand. But I mean, even the non-name brands are
And
high.
these are Walgreen brand, but I've been using them for months now and I'm not seeing a difference.
All right. But you do have to make sure you have your phone number registered with Walgreens, because
Yep.
I had used I had used to I used to I used to do the stuff that you do with Walgreens to get your, what is it, the register rewards or whatever
Yep.
it was. Do they still do that?
Yep.
But we switched to CVS a while back because they didn't have a Walgreens where we were living, and then I just
We
got
don't
out
have
of
a
the habit.
CVS.
Well, now I live where they have both again, but I just got in the habit of just doing CVS. But anyway, I had a small panic attack because I got up there and I put in my phone number, and it was like $45. And I was like, look, dude, I hate to tell you this, but I'm not paying
Wait. Did you buy something other than the bags? So it was $45 to begin with. And
before.
it went down. Wow.
Yeah, for 12 bags of freezer bags in quart size and gallon size, getting the buy one and get two free.
That's a
So
fourth of the price.
yeah, and I was like, hate to do this to you. And he's like, I don't think maybe your phone number went through. So I tried it one more time and it went through, and I was like, but yeah, that's quite a big deal there.
Wow. Because I do coupon, because the whole toilet paper fiasco during the pandemic taught me that I have a stockpile of toilet paper.
Who doesn't, right?
So I do coupon for like toilet paper, laundry detergent, cleaning stuff. And that's where I learned about getting the Walgreens bags. And it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, $45 down to 12. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to Walgreens to get my quart bags now, because now I'm feeling incredibly guilty that I didn't get any for that price.
Girl, whenever I saw that, I was like, look, I forget like why I stopped doing this register reward things, but I'm all like a believer again, and I'm about to start again.
I'll be
Because that
sending
was
you
just,
videos now, like I do my time.
but I mean, it was a little bit of work, and maybe that's why I quit. I just got so busy and tired with raising kids, and I was like, I don't care, I'll pay the extra. But and like I think that it's a drugstore, so some of the prices are a little bit ridiculous to start with for you to pay full price.
Yeah.
But even when you do the sale, it comes out being better than it would be like at Walmart for the
Yeah.
same price.
A little bit. Okay. So next topic, because we this freeze dryer and prepping, I think, well, no, freeze drying.
Mhm.
Drying leads us into prepping. And
Okay.
I know I've kind of always been a prepper because the simple fact that that's the generation I was raised in. They lived through the Great Depression. We always had canning and wood and all the stuff that would sustain us if we lost electricity or, something should happen. Why do you prep?
So I lived way out in the sticks where I grew up. They had a grocery store, but you didn't go there and buy stuff unless you were in dire straits. You couldn't make it to the grocery store for some reason, or you forgot one ingredient you needed and the neighbor didn't have it or something. Because it was like from where I lived, 70 plus we lived on the other side. So like nearly almost 100 miles for us to drive to like a real grocery store where we didn't get raked over the coals in the price department. So like I grew up, and I don't know if everybody down there did. I'm probably pretty sure they all did, but I know in my family at least, we would like make a monthly trip to this
Yep.
other town that was further away, that 100 miles away, and um we would do all of our rat killing that day. We would go to the doctor. If we wanted to see a movie or anything, we needed to buy clothes for school shopping, whatever we did it all in that one day if we could. And the last thing we did was go grocery shopping.
Yep.
And then we would come home. And then we would be like dragging those groceries in for, I don't know, seemed like for hours.
Yeah. I remember
At
those.
midnight. It was a long, hard day. But we would do all of our grocery shopping for like a month and bring it all home. And so I don't really consider that prepping, because other than that, I mean, we raised our own cows and my dad had the cows butchered and stuff like that. And really, I think I grew up kind of spoiled, and I didn't realize it until I got married and I had to learn like, oh, like some people like really do go to the grocery store every day.
Yeah, imagine that.
And it's like for various reasons, just for convenience or because they only have enough money to get by and that's all they can afford. They can't buy for a month like we did or whatever. And then this is like, I I don't know how to say this. I don't want to come off wrong, but my first husband came from a Mormon family,
Mhm.
and he wanted to get back into the Mormon faith after we had been married for a while. And I was like, what? I don't know what a Mormon is. So
I'm
I was like,
sorry.
okay. So I learned the
After
whole
you've
thing.
been married, he drops this on you.
I know, right? And so I learned the whole thing. I went through the whole um the visiting teachers came, and I went through the whole study, and then I got baptized and did the whole thing. And then I learned how they do it. And they are like serious. Like if you want to learn how to like prep for life, these are the people to learn it from. Like I
Yeah.
learned how to do so many things, and where to put your stuff if you don't have room for it and all this stuff. And they're not really like so much preparing for the apocalypse or anything, but they're just like hard times come in everybody's life and you need to be prepared for it. And they have a really interesting system. They have like their own welfare system for their own church family.
Mhm.
So if you get down on your luck and you have used all of your personal supply that you have built up of food, because every family is supposed to prepare for at least a year. They should all have a year of food and water in case they lose a job or whatever happens. They don't have to worry about their kids going hungry. So if you're in dire straits and you've gone through all that, then you go to I'm gonna get the terminology wrong because it's been over 20 years. You go to it's like the preacher, but it's not the preacher. It's not what it's called. But anyway, you go to him and you talk to him, and he'll send you over to the Mormon store, and they will let you go in and shop and get what you need. And there's no food stamps or anything else. It's like their own little system
Yep.
where they take care of their own. And honestly, I think that is the most amazing, one of the most amazing things that I have ever witnessed. And after that, I have always just kind of like, I never lost that. I went and I learned how to do now when they can there, they don't can like we're thinking about with the glass jars and the pressure sealing and all that stuff. They actually can it in a cannery with like the like when you buy the survival food in the big tin cans.
Yep.
That's what they're doing. They're doing it in the big
Like
tin
coffee
cans.
cans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like you go in there and you pay like a bulk fee, a price, because they buy it in huge bulk, and you go in there and they show you how to do it, and you go in there and get all your food all bulked up and packaged up, and you take it home for like dirt cheap. So I had that stuff. I don't know. After my first husband and I got divorced, which is horrible because I was a Mormon now. We were supposed to like be married in the temple and everything and live forever married, but we didn't go to the temple. We didn't make it that far. So
Life happens.
yeah, but anyway, um, I don't know. Later on, life got really hard, and I was a single mother, and that food did save my children's lives.
Yeah.
So I became kind of like I guess like a depression era person,
Yeah.
where like you always are afraid you might go through it again, so you make sure you don't ever be in that position again. And I will tell you, there are people in my family that made fun of me for years. They're like, what are you doing with all this beans and rice? I'm like, because I'm never going to go hungry like that again. I'm never going to, you know, I'm never going to look at my kid and see my kid hungry. He may not be liking beans and rice, but he's going to have something.
Yep. I think that if you've been a single parent and been through that, when my oldest, was a single parent, and my ex-husband was anyways. Um so I I didn't get, when you're in the military, I didn't get they call it BAQ, which is to help support, your housing and your food and
Uh-huh.
everything, because my ex-husband wouldn't sign off that he wasn't in the military anymore. So it was a whole thing. There were times when it wasn't for Army Community Services that Joshua and I wouldn't have eaten, because
Yeah.
I was paying the rent and everything. And that taught me, always have something in the pantry for your kids. Always.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I like the system of the Mormons. I had heard, and I did look it up. I was reading this book, and I think it's called A Year Without a Grocery Store.
Mm-hmm.
And you plan out what you want to eat, the recipes, and you make sure you have all the ingredients. And they do talk about the Mormon store, and there are some that are actually open to the public that
Oh,
you can
wow.
go to. I want to say there's one in San Antonio. I could be wrong. I would have to look it up. But the Amish are much the same way too. And I grew up in the area of the country where Amish are predominant,
Mm-hmm.
and they fully believe in, we're and I don't believe that it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a community to raise a community. And the
Uh-huh.
Amish
Yeah.
are always supporting each other. Like if one person doesn't have it, the neighbors are always there. Where I think we get away from that.
Yeah. And that goes back to like what you were saying about how, your grandparents and stuff were like, people just used to be that way. They used to take care of each other.
Yeah.
You used to feel comfortable enough to go to your neighbors and tell them you needed something. And now you don't even know who your neighbor is most of the time.
I was I don't know if you caught this comment on the freeze dryer Facebook, where they said, how would you feel if your neighbor came to you when the disaster happens and asked you for food? Would you give them food or not? And a lot of people are saying, my neighbors don't even know I have a freeze dryer, because I don't want them to know that I'm prepping and putting food up for just that situation. And I'm like, my neighbors probably know I have a freeze dryer because the box sat out on the carport forever.
But really, like, do your neighbors pay attention to your driveway? Probably not.
I think
I
the
think it
Amazon guy
depends.
is here. um, but now the Harvest Right box, I put it out in my garden to
Oh yeah.
weeds. So I don't
Well, I
know
think
if
I think
they
it
do that.
depends on your neighbors though. Like, our neighbors across the street we're very close with.
Mhm.
And I like the neighbors that were there before them that were across the street. I was very close with her and she moved away and I was like, don't leave me out here alone. Please don't leave me. Come back, come back. We're supposed to move at the same time and I'm not ready to move. But I mean, the people that bought the house from her turned out being even better than her. But like they literally, like when my husband's at work, that he will call and he will say, just want to let you know I'm watching over you. I'm like, I know, thank you very much. You know, and I've gone outside in the dark because I forgot something in my car and I see him with his flashlight out. I'm watching you. I'm like, hey, that's just me.
Yeah. I don't know any of mine. I know them to wave and say hi, how you doing? But other than that, and we spent 20 years in the military. I knew my neighbors knew me. Anytime somebody moved in or moved out, we met our neighbors. We had wine night every Saturday night where we would sit out on the carport and kill a couple bottles of wine. But it's not like that in the real world.
Right. Well, and it's so hard these days too when both people have to work in the couple and no one's ever home.
Except for us, we're always home.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
but
yeah, we were the weirdos that homeschooled our kids and found a way to make money on the side and do the things that we were made fun of. And yeah, we were the weirdos, but I know a lot of people that they don't have that opportunity or they weren't interested in that type of lifestyle.
But I think prepping has gotten a bad rap between like our neighbors. Oh, you don't want to go there. They're preppers. What is so bad about, not only did we live through COVID, which was pretty bad, but what was it, the year after COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Where my water went out for 6 weeks. And everybody's like, referring back to Facebook. Oh, turn your electric and your water off for a weekend and see if you're prepared to live without. And I'm like, dude, I lived for 6 weeks without water. Please, just please don't talk to me about it.
Right?
Yeah. When you're getting a gym membership just to take a shower, I can survive without running water.
And I've had a gym membership for years just for that reason, so I could take a shower because our water is gross here.
Yeah, so
that's one of the things when you live in the booties and you live on well water and stuff, and sometimes it's just like, and then they finally treat your water, and then it's like pure chlorine coming out of the tap, and you're just like, man, like one day I smell like dog water's coming out, and I don't want to wash my laundry, my hair, or my body. And then the next day, it's like Clorox coming out. Yep. So yeah, sometimes I go to the gym medium just to take a shower, and I'm not even too proud to admit that I don't even ride the bicycle there.
Yeah.
But COVID did make it difficult because they closed the gyms, and then they changed the hours when they finally reopened. And let me tell you that became a little bit stressful on my little shower situation because I had to like hurry up if I didn't get there in time to take my shower.
Yep. I don't think prepping is all about the zombie apocalypse. And we do joke in this house a lot about zombie apocalypse happening.
Ooh, yeah, we do too.
It's just about things like that. I want to be prepared for when I don't have water, or my water. We live on city water, at any time we could have
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you live. There's always an issue with the water.
Yeah. So,
but yeah,
I think you go and get water and bring it home, right?
I do, because for a while I had a water purifier thing that we had on the faucet because I thought that was good enough. I was like, I grew up with well water, and the well water that I grew up with was fine.
Yep.
And I was, here I was bragging to my kids when we moved into this house. I was like, well water is the best water. It's the healthiest for you. You're going to love it. And the first drink I took, I nearly like barfed. I was like, what on earth? This is nasty. So, I got a thingy to put on the faucet to treat it, and it was still kind of and then I'm making Thanksgiving dinner and everything is finished, and I get a phone call, and it's one of those voice automated things, and it says the boil notice is over. You may now use your water without boiling it again. And I was like, I was supposed to be boiling my water. I just cooked my whole Thanksgiving meal like this. So I have never trusted my notification system either. So
Yeah.
after that, like, yeah, we go to town and we get water for cooking and drinking. Um, if the water does not stink or it's not brown, I will do my laundry and take a shower in it. But I do my laundry around the quality of the water here.
Yeah, I can. Not only is it hard on you that it smells bad, it's also probably hard on your appliances and your pipes.
Oh yeah, we've been through, I think we've lived here like 10-ish years and we're on our fourth hot water heater.
Really?
Is that bad? It's
Well, I guess my point is we need to be prepped for anything because what season's next?
hurricane.
Last week was hurricane preparedness week. Did you know
It's
that?
like, no, it's like, what the heck? It was just the first day of tornado.
Tornado
Give us a
season.
break.
So what do
We
we
gotta
have
prepare
prepped
for
for
hurricanes. We're
hurricane
still
season?
right. Why do we have to prepare for it? Do like can't we just get through the tornado one first?
Yeah. And I think they're starting to have these prep things because preppers are becoming more and more predominant, but they're tired of, and this was not a phenomenon until I moved to Texas. And I think the first time this happened, there's going to be an ice storm. And we went to HEB and there was nothing left on the shelves.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I Well, I guess I know why people panic because that one storm they remember for their whole life. And like, if you weren't alive yet or you were too young to remember it, you think it's crazy until that one crazy
Thanks to
storm hits you
you.
like a couple of years ago. And now we're all like, oh my God, there's going to be a snowflake. I got to go get some stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I remember sending you pictures when it first started. And then it's just like it went downhill fast after that.
I know.
That was
But
horrible.
I mean, but you know, like if you are always preparing for something bad, like even then, whenever it's going to be a giant snowstorm or whatever, you don't have to run to the store and panic. You can just go pick up a few things.
Yeah. And I think that's my goal for my family. If something were to happen, my daughter works at the grocery store, so that's the only reason why we
Okay.
got toilet paper.
All
Um,
right.
but I might call her and say, "Hey, pick up this, that, and the other thing." But other than that, we have everything on hand where we don't have to panic anymore
Yeah.
for that
Well,
tornado or that hurricane or heaven forbid an ice storm in Texas.
hmm well, and sometimes you just have to learn how to like, I hate to say it this way, but lower your standards a little bit. Like realize that some of the stuff that you think you can't live without, you actually can.
Yeah, because not only is the milk and the bread aisle gone, so is the beer. Yeah, we do live in Texas, but the beer aisle is usually vacant too.
Right. So like, yeah, like maybe prepare with a little alcohol on the side. We do not. I don't drink. I'm like, it's fine. If there's like an emergency, there is like some old ancient like 12, 15-year-old bottles of alcohol. Hopefully it will still be okay. It's like honey, it stays good forever,
Yeah,
right?
alcohol is used to preserve. We do drink, and I do have quite the alcohol collection, but we have put some aside for if the worst happens, for bartering and trading, because there is no way that if I had a glass of something every night between now and the time I die, that I could drink all this alcohol.
Oh wow.
So I'm not sure how that happened. It just kind of happened anyways.
So whenever you were talking about people saying that that are preppers that if their neighbors show up and need help, they're gonna like pretty much slam a door in their face or whatever. To some degree, I can kind of understand why they would feel that way because when your own family ridicules you and acts like you're ridiculous for putting away some beans and rice so you never have to starve again, your Scarlett O'Hara moment in your personal life,
I
um,
never
and
go
and you know,
hungry.
and your neighbors make fun of you, and society makes fun of preppers and everything else. Like I can kind of understand where you'd be like, yeah, they ran me down this whole time while they went on their vacations, and I spent my extra money, like, being responsible and everything. And the first time something gets hard, they're coming to my house because they know I prepared. Like, I
Yeah.
can't understand a little bit of the animosity.
And the another point was if you turn them down and they know you're preppers and you tell them no, are they going to come back later and rob you? Or on the other hand, if you give them food, my door is just opening. If you give them food, they're going to keep coming back until you don't have enough food for yourself. So do you
Right.
just want to wear the baggy clothes and pretend like you have nothing and just learn to ration yourself because you want your supplies to last longer? There's like so many different sides to that coin.
I think the only thing you really can do is start paying attention to the people in your neighborhood and figuring out what they're good at and what their either their gifts or their skills are.
Yeah.
And like in your mind, be preparing for that to happen, because if a doctor from your neighborhood comes and knocks on your door and needs food, are you going to be stupid enough to not give him food? Because next week you might slice your finger open.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. And I think that if something the worst were to happen, and I'm not talking about just like a hurricane, if the worst were to happen, we'd want to form those connections and the community and like support each other that way.
Right.
So
And
that's
even the people that you think may not even have any skills, like you have no idea. Like, in the way that the world has become, especially the last couple of years, like no one is doing the job that they prepared and trained for
this
anymore.
is true. This is true.
Like people have multi skills now because they have to.
People look at me and I love telling this story. They say, thank your husband for his service. And I'm like, sure, fine, but I'm the vet. He's a vet too, but hi,
Right? Yeah,
I
totally
was a
overlooked.
I was a lab tech in communications in a prior life, and people look at me like, you have those skills? I'm like, amazing, isn't it?
Exactly. Did you ever watch Walking Dead? I think you did, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think about, like, if you've never watched Walking Dead, which I understand why some people used to and then they stopped, and it's like, just get over it.
Yeah.
If you've never watched it, watch some of them. And just realize that it's not just about the zombies, okay? Like, that's why I didn't watch it for years, because I thought it was just about the zombies, and I was like, that's so stupid and brain rot, and I'm beneath that's beneath me. But then when my mom had cancer and she was just like confined, she couldn't walk and do all the things she used to do. She got hooked on it. And I sat there with her one day and got pulled into an episode. And I was like, this isn't even, I haven't even seen a zombie. And she's like, I've been telling you.
It's more about building of community and the resources
Yeah,
that they need and that they had what?
right.
They had the police officers, they had the guy with a bow and arrow who could hunt, they got the doctors in, everybody had
Yes.
their skills that they supported that community. And it was one woman who did all the cooking.
Yeah. And even the people that you thought were useless, they ended up being the most worthwhile person.
Yep. Yep.
And your favorite character. And I think to myself sometimes, I'm like, I think, like, even though it's a show and it's not real, there are some really good, like, it takes your mind and takes you to places and helps you think that way.
Yep. I completely agree. And I think that I do realize that online we build these communities for like, we both belong to the freeze dryer group. And I don't know about you, I belong to a couple of prepper groups and building that community. But that community that we've built online, if a hurricane came in and took down all my internet, I'm going to have to rely on my neighbors and my community
Right,
to support me rather than to Facebook.
right.
So
This is true. So you might want to get out and start being nice to your neighbors and finding out what their skills are. I mean, I probably wouldn't go knock on their door and be all like, "Hey, I'm a prepper. What do you do?" Probably wouldn't start with that.
I do know the way to my neighbor's heart. He loves deviled eggs. And his wife
Oh,
won't make them
good.
for him. I'm like, okay, I can work with that.
Yeah. But like in my neighborhood, like if you have your mindset that way, when you come home, drive through your neighborhood and just start paying attention to the yards before yours and after yours, and like what's going on in their yard. Like anyone that drives by my yard can tell that I have chickens. I
Mhm.
can drive by and I can see that the neighbor on the other side has a garden already started. I can drive by and see that the people over here, they have goats. I can see the people over there has a pig. I can see all sorts of things going on. I can see that this guy has some kind of big rig equipment. Like okay, so there's our mechanic person that can
Yeah.
fix things. It's just like you can pick up on a lot of things without even knowing your neighbors.
Run through their backyards, chasing your husky, and you pick up even more.
I bet. But yeah, like
Yes.
and our neighbor across the street, like he moved in and he did all the things I always said I wanted to do, and we never did because life just got retarded after we. Oh, sorry if I offended anybody. I'm from the old school. That wasn't a bad word, but anyway, things just got kind of crazy, and we never did do all the things we want to do, like go through the neighborhood and meet all the neighbors and
Yeah.
kind of scope them out a little bit and stuff. But this neighbor has, because he's a Vietnam vet. He lives with his daughter, and who's a little bit younger than me. And he has gone out and he has literally met all the neighbors and sized them up. And he knows who all the other veterans are. And he's come over and he said, and these people do this and these people do it. So I mean, if you could just get one person in your neighborhood to do these things,
Yeah.
one of the older retired people to go out and make these connections for you, then I mean that's wonderful. And he sits over there daily. If he's out in the yard, he's waving at everybody that drives by. I'm your buddy, I'm your friend. And he
That
says, and he
works.
makes sure, yeah, and he makes sure, he says, I always make sure when they drive by at night that they see me like shining the flashlight on your house so they know I'm watching you too. And I'm like, you're the
That works.
best. You're the
No,
best.
we have cameras on our house on every corner, so my husband can keep an eye on us when he's traveling, I guess. So,
We should do a whole episode on cameras on houses
yeah.
because I think everybody has them now,
Yeah.
which is a little bit creepy. Just a
It,
little.
it can be, yeah. But a couple of times it's really helped out.
All right. Well,
You
maybe
know,
next week.
the
Yeah.
one thing we did not talk about was doing a prepping handbook
We're going
that
to
we
get there.
want. Yeah, what we need to do is I think every week we should think about one section that we need.
Good idea.
And let me tie that in with what we've been talking about. Evaluate your skills.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because, I might be good at one thing that's prepping, but I might not be good at another. So I might have to find a neighbor or, find a way to purchase something like that. So I think one of the really valuable things about prepping is know what you can do. Or if there's a skill you want to learn.
Get busy now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the biggest nerd. I, I don't even think nerd's a bad word anymore because I am one, but
My
maybe
husband
there's a
says I
special,
am.
maybe there's a special kind of word nerd for me or something, nerd word or whatever. But I'm always constantly learning something. I am very audio, like,
Yeah, you watch a lot of like YouTube and stuff. So
yeah, and not so much even watch it. I listen to it. Like I am constantly, if there's something boring I have to do, like that's the only way I get through it. I'm like learning how to do something. I'm learning about the world. I'm learning about what's happening in the world. I'm learning how to do things I don't know how to do. I'm learning about something I don't know anything about. Like currently, I'm trying to understand Bitcoin, and
that just boggles my mind. I don't know.
yeah, so it's just like, and I'm not, and probably if I would focus on it, maybe I can learn what I need to learn about it, be a gazillionaire. I don't know, but I'm not just learning that. I'm learning 100 other things at the same time.
That's how you and I both learned how to freeze dry was
Yeah,
YouTube. And if I need to know something about the freeze dry, like the shrimp, I went and watched YouTube videos on how to do it. So
but that brings up another good point. So we have got, when we're learning our skills, we may not be able to access YouTube in the future.
no.
So whatever you learn,
And my retention, we've already figured out is really low. So I still rely on
Mhm.
notes because
Yeah. And I still love a good book. And we don't. I do. I still have a lot of books and I will still buy books
I
because
try
I'm
not
always
to
afraid.
because, but then, okay, so I got this book. I stole this from my mother. I got the herbal antivirus. Yes, I visit when I visited my mom. She had two of these.
Oh, of course you had to take
Wow.
one then.
And they were side by side. And I'm like, you've got two of these. Can I have one? She says, sure. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome. But
But
yeah, so you know what? I feel like though, sometimes I will buy a book and I have every intention of reading it and I don't. But I always think, well, at least if I have the book, if something happens later and I can't access the internet.
I'm not buying reading books. I'm buying more books that,
Oh, yeah,
like this book, if something should happen
right. Stuff that you can actually use and might need,
for resources. Yeah.
or
Yep.
something that is historical that you might need to recall or learn from. Do you remember? I know you're a little bit older than me, but so I know you have to remember because I
You're
remember.
saying that politely. Okay, go ahead.
I am saying it in the sweetest, kindest way. I really am. But if I was at the tail end of this, and I remember, so I know you do, but I remember being terrified that Russia was going to bomb us and hiding under our desk and preparing for that. And like, I can't believe that we're going there again.
I was in the army in Germany in an ordnance company.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm very familiar with. I was in Germany when the terrorists bombed Frankfurt Airport,
Oh wow.
and we had protesters at our gate. Um, and we came so far. We tore down the Berlin Wall and everything, and yeah, we're going right back to where we were. It's just like, what?
Right. Yeah. And it's in our own lifetime. So why can't we remember this? We still
Yeah,
have to stay aware. We still have to pay, the price of paying
the
attention.
Weather Channel. We have to be.
For real? Like,
So
what is
all weekend long, I kept getting on my phone severe weather alerts. You're gonna.
Yeah. And what happened? Nothing.
I did not turn my freeze dryer on until Sunday morning, and by that time, I'm like, I've had it. I'm just turning this on. If if we have severe weather and I lose electricity, so be it. I'll deal with it. But I have waited for 3 days because you all keep telling me we're gonna have severe weather. It rained.
Samesies.
It
Samesies every
rained,
last
but
3 to 4 days because I was waiting.
yep. I just
And
so I
there
always
was
have
a
the Weather
day,
Channel on.
yeah, and there was a day while you were gone, I lost power and it wasn't even raining, and I was running my freeze dryer, and I was like, for real. But I mean that wound up being a good
Learning
test
experience.
learning experience too, because I was all like, oh heck no, I'm not gonna lose all this work now, and I'm so close to the finish line. Like I plugged that into a battery backup system thingy, and I
Yeah,
was all like,
I
how
need
long
to
can
get
this
that.
last? And you know what? It went for a while, and then the electricity finally came back on and took over, and I was like, I'm not going to unplug from this. I'm just going to stay plugged into this as a backup power source.
Yep.
And sure enough, it flickered and went off again. And I was like, I guess a tree felt cute, decided to fall over just because the sun was out. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I really want to look into getting a solar generator, just if nothing
Mhm.
else to run like the freezer and the freeze dryer on, because yeah, that's my worst fear.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And that's what, and that's another reason why we both wanted a freeze dryer, because every time the power goes out, we have to worry about keeping our freezer from losing all of our food.
yep.
Like our mission is to empty our freezer,
Yes.
dry all that food, and buy new food and stick in there.
Yep. Well, in our case, our one freezer is now full of ice for his ice bath.
Oh wow. But still, I mean, you know what I mean? If you are preserving the stuff that is in your freezer and you fill it again, like you feel like an amazing sense of
You
accomplishment and
also find things in your freezer you forgot that you had.
right? And yeah, and it's just it's a nice feeling to know
It's
that you're at least that far ahead.
yeah. I wouldn't trade my I know it's an investment, but it's well worth the investment. It really, really is. So
But you know, so was your food you bought and stuck in the freezer, and then your power went out and it all went. You had to throw it all away. That was an investment too. So you're just protecting your original investment.
what hurricane was it? We were without power for like 6 hours because we didn't get the hurricane, but we got the rain bands,
Mm-hmm,
and it
mm-hmm.
hit the transformer like right up the road from our house. And it's just like, don't open a freezer, don't open a refrigerator, just keep them closed.
Exactly. And you know what? It seems like the first thing my husband does is, I need to have some cereal. I'm like, if you open that fridge, I will break your hand, Buster.
Ain't that the truth?
Why is like the first thing he wants to do is open the fridge?
We neither one of us have little kids, but they stand in front of the refrigerator saying, "Ooh, what are we gonna eat?" And my youngest son Zachary, I could just see him doing that. I'm just like,
And see, if you had your food freeze dried, then you could just open one of your jars or one of your Mylar bags and be all like, no worries, don't open that fridge. We got this.
yep, yep. Until next week.
Yep, we'll see you later. We're Loco. You come be Loco with us.
Yes, I was gonna say if you want to just have a moment and just relax and go local, be sure to tune in and do all that stuff. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, because we're going to do this once a week. And I promise I will get the videos out on Wednesday from now on. So every Wednesday we will be here. So come join us and be a little loco.
That's
Texas
right.
loco.
Besides, who knows what you'll miss? I might milk something next week.
I'm when you go to milk that goat, you have to record that. You just
Okay, I will work on that. We'll have a whole episode when I milk that goat.
Did
You
you
might have to come up here and help me.
you have a good week. If you have any more adventures, just write them down as you go so we can talk about them next week.
Absolutely. See you later. Bye.